line it all up, dude. I'm like a director of a movie.
It seemed pretty legit.
Yeah, you know. Good, dude. Just got to breathe for a second.
Yeah,
you know?
I get it.
100 miles an hour. You get it.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Everybody missed all the conversation we had prior to this, but it's okay because it's about to get good. You ready?
I am. I am.
Have you done this before?
I have done a podcast before.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of podcast?
I did it's the East Coast Adventures podcast, the Dirt and Vert podcast.
Nice, dude.
So I ran a couple of their, 3 of their races last year, and they had me on.
Nice, man. Oh, yeah. How old are you?
I'm 48 this year.
Nice, dude.
Old dude.
I'm catching up. I just turned 34. Big year, you know?
Yeah. When I was 34, I weighed 255 pounds.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me about that a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to hear more about that that journey because it's quite the shift.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8", if I'm lucky, 5'7", 5'8".
250 is a lot of weight at 5'8".
You ain't kidding.
Damn, man. All right. Well, we're about to dive into it. What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. What this podcast does is take you on a journey from individuals from all different backgrounds, all walks of life. We go through the ins and outs, the in-betweens, and everything along their journey and what led them to where they're at today. I don't know why my mind just went blank. It does that sometimes. There's a lot going on. I got finals this week, guys. That being said, today I introduce you Mr. Matt Blankenship.
Yeah.
Speaking of Blankenship, I just blanked out for a second. Hey, it happens, man, but we re-gear. So Matt was introduced to me by our friend Chris. And, Chris, his podcast is on episode, I don't know, it's mid-80s. But you can find it. He's an ultra-marathon runner, pretty powerful story. And I had reached out to him, and I was like, hey, man, do you know anybody that would make a killer guest? And I always like to ask, especially the most solid guest, that question. And one of the first people he brought up was you. Cool. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that should say a lot coming from Chris. Honor. Yeah. You should be honored, man. And so, Chris gave me your information. We connected, and you are from the Knoxville area, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Maryville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Maryville, Tennessee. And so I reached out. I was like, let's make it happen, man.
Yeah.
So you're here in a pretty chaotic week of my life, and I'm okay with that. But anyways, without further ado, please introduce yourself. Tell us what you got going on now in your life, just really briefly, and then we're going to take it back a little bit.
All right. Matt Blankenship. I live in Maryville, Tennessee. I work for a company in Knoxville called At Work. I'm president of that company. I've been there for 3 years. And then I'm married. Been married to my wife, I think it's 8 years now. And I have a daughter who is about to turn 18, graduates in 2 weeks. And her life journey is about to really take off. So
it's crazy. Mine just turned 1. My daughter, and yours is about to turn 18. Yeah. The two crazy times.
Man, if I could give you any advice in life, is you cherish every moment that you can with your daughter. I think that I have been fortunate to have as much time. I'm divorced from her mother. We still live in the same town, still talk weekly. Okay. But I get to see my daughter every day still, and I spend an absorbent amount of time with her every day.
That's a blessing, man. I tell you what, advice taken, and something I'm definitely very attentive to. I wish I could be more present at the time. Obviously, she's a big piece of that purpose moving forward in life with everything. And but that's why I come in so early, so I can spend the evenings with my family. Right. And consistently I hold her. I'm the one that gets her to sleep every night. I hold her. She falls asleep in daddy's arms, every night. And so that's something that's very important to me. So I definitely, that's the most important thing to me. So, and then 18, you said you're about to take off to college?
Yep. She's going to go to the University of Tennessee. She's going to go to the College of Nursing. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
So she just got pinned, her CNA pin last night.
Uh-oh. So she's ready.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, it's going to be a whole new journey. Well, and you're not too far from there, so you can be there through it all. And
sneak up there a couple of times.
Just say, hey, what is she doing? That's a frat house. I'm just kidding.
Negative.
Yeah, man, I'll go with you, dude. I got your back. But that's pretty awesome, man. So it sounds like is that your only kid?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
sweet.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we got that little bit of information. Matt, take us back. Take us back to the early days. Back, 40-something years ago, to the early time of you. Where are you from? And then kind of bridging through your childhood a little bit and the influences there in your life. Mm-hmm. And and we'll keep it rolling.
Awesome. So born in Nashville, 3 years old, we moved to Maryville, Tennessee. Dad took a job with a local company there, moved the whole family, lived there since. Got into sports young. I have 2 older brothers,
okay.
both very athletic. My oldest brother raced dirt bikes when we were kids, so sponsored by Suzuki at one point, Kawasaki at another point, had a bunch of other sponsors. I think he's a junior national champion, dirt bike racer. He played football. He's 10 years older than me, so we didn't really hang out that much.
Yeah.
And then I have another brother that's 2 years older than me, phenomenal baseball player, was 5'7", 5'8", graduated high school. 2 years later, he's 6'1". So
damn.
he missed I guess an opportunity there to go and play some college ball. But he and I always fought, did the stuff growing up, wrestled, played sports in the yard, did all the things together. And then baseball and football were my 2 sports. Played baseball, t-ball all the way up, and got into football obviously at a young age, and then played it all through college. So
3 boys, you were the youngest.
Yeah.
All athlete was, like I said, all athletes in your own right. I mean, dirt bike racing's obviously a little different, but you're an athlete at that point, especially when you're taken to that kind of level. And did you come, or your parents like athletes as well? Because I can tell you're an athletic family.
No, I don't. My dad moved around a little bit when he was younger. I don't recall him playing sports.
Really?
He had 2 older brothers and a sister, and they played probably a little bit of baseball growing up, but didn't really play sports. My mom didn't play sports either, so if she did, it wasn't something that was a mainstay at their homestead. So,
so y'all just had it then.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was obviously a pretty important emphasis of your life. So you were involved pretty much year round with those main 2, correct? Because I remember you telling me like that's a pretty big part of your life was the sport. So that's definitely going to take us along the journey. So one, what were you better at, football or baseball?
Football, baseball, I played catcher, and I just had this thing in my head that I just couldn't throw to second base. I don't know what it was. Like a couple of times I threw the ball away, and then it was just kind of a mental thing. I had a mental gap there where I just would not throw to second base. It was the weirdest thing. Even throwing back to the pitcher was weird to me. It was stress. It was just stress.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how stress will put up like mental blocks for you.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean it does it to me today.
Yeah.
I mean just like I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty stressed out. I'm grateful for it. I got a lot of great things going on, but just even the introduction, I think the stress weighs on me, and I just blanked out. And I do this every week, But it happens, man.
It does.
You just kind of got to laugh at it and recognize it, But at the time, you were like, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
You probably didn't think of it that way. You were just like, I can't throw the ball. Man, what is happening to me?
Don't throw it over the pitcher's head.
Yeah, something about my arm just not working, so I can't complete this. Oh yeah. So you played both through high school and everything.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Were there any other significant, I guess, events in your life at the time? Going through high school, middle school, whatever, that was a big impact on you. Maybe with your parents or anything like that. Are you still close to them?
Yeah. So my parents still live in the same area. We live in the same town. My dad called me just a minute ago.
Nice.
I was like, hey, I'm doing that podcast, Dad. Hold up. Everything okay? But still see them quite a bit. Still, grew up hunting, fishing, outdoors, doing the stuff. Trying to reflect back on how I am the way I am now, and the reason I do certain things or go about the way I am is, comes from both of my parents. My mom was more of the calm, calming person. I mean, with 3 boys in the house, there's a lot of hell being raised.
Oh, of course.
And wrestling, fighting, arguments, temper. Had a pretty bad temper as a kid. Not that I really took it out on anybody. I would just basically lose my shit.
Same.
And, she would be there to chill me out, taught me, like, hey, when you get that way, just go lay down for a minute, go do this for a minute, chill out. My dad, I'm a very process-oriented person now, and I didn't realize pretty much where that came from. He was really into baseball, so he got involved with me playing baseball, asked him to be my coach for years. He wouldn't do it because he didn't want to deal with parents. He ended up doing it one year, and I'll get into that. But we would come home during baseball season when I got home from school, and I would take 200 to 400 balls a night off of a tee or fast pitch to me from me to you, this distance. And me working on bat speed. He really dove into me and me being successful. I was a terrible baseball player as a kid when I was 8 and 9 years old because I was scared of the ball.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm at some guy's house. I'm a catcher. Can't be scared of a ball. I'm taking balls
flying
off
at
my
you
chest,
all the time.
off the ground. And then worked on hitting. I was scared of the ball when I hit. And so between 11 and 12 years old, we started doing that. We did that all through high school. And so my very first at bat when I was 11 years old in Little League, a dinger. Next at bat, a dinger. So it's but going through and just sounds cliche, but putting in the work, as everybody says now, I didn't know that that's what was happening to me at that time. I didn't know that that's what he was instilling in me at that time. All I knew is I was just hitting balls because I sucked at hitting balls.
Like most of us, though, when we're young, we don't know why our parents do certain things, especially, and sound like you, I'm blessed to have great intentional parents.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen it as you've aged. You see how rare that is. Like I got a lot of friends, man, that come just from pretty unfortunate circumstances. It breaks my heart. So like I've always treated like family, and my family treats them like family. So I'm very blessed to have had killer parents. They live there right up the road. They're in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And I'm really close to them. Ironically enough, my dad for the trucking companies within Knoxville. I forget the name of them, but you might know of them. He does their podcast.
Yeah.
He just started doing it, and I was like, oh, like son, like father. I'm like, Dad, if you need any tips, I'm the guy. This, but it's funny. But yeah, like I think back on things my parents may have said or done, and but you reflect on that and you're like, holy shit, that was actually a really big influence on me and who I am today. So
Miyagi in your ass is what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, but even them just being them, like my mom was just always so sacrificial and loving. And like, when you're a kid and your mom's always loving on you, you're like, ew, you get to a point like that. But I'm like, I really appreciate that. Like, no matter what, she was always very kind and loving. And like, because of that, I'm that way towards like my daughter and my wife. And that's very important.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest influence I had with my daughter is just being, intentional with her, spending time with her, letting her feel loved. I didn't really pressure her into play sports or do anything like that she didn't want to do. She started, she'd finish it, but it was just, it's pretty crazy what you take away from your parents, and it's pretty crazy, like you said, to see that not everybody had that. They didn't have a mom and dad that were there. They didn't have parents that pushed quietly without you knowing what was going on.
Yeah,
to make you better. So.
Without a doubt, man. And like I don't know. They at the end of the day, they had such a positive influence. Like maybe they didn't do it all perfect. Of course they didn't. You didn't. I'm not going to. But like, you can take what you learn from them, and take a lot of it, and be like, oh, I'm gonna apply this to like my raising children. And there's gonna be things where like, well, my parents did that. I'm probably not gonna do that. But they'd probably tell you the same thing now. Like, yeah, I kind of screwed up here. But we're all learning, man, and that, we're all trying to improve on that journey. But you mentioned hunting being a big part of your life.
Oh, yeah.
When did you start hunting?
6 years old. So
6 years
I always
old?
went. So when we moved away from the Nashville area, my dad's best friend lived in Dixon County, had a farm. We went there from when I was 6 years old till.
That's on the other side of Nashville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, from when I was 6 years old until I I was 21 or 3.
Yeah.
And then we ended up, my brothers and my dad and I bought a farm next door there.
Nice.
And so it's been a piece of our life
Heck
ever
yeah.
since. So it's we all spend time together there. We all do things together. We farm. We do things like that. I don't have as much time for it right now because where I'm at in my life to go down there and do the farming piece and do all that. And I still try to go hunt as much as possible.
Of course.
It's like, it's kind of a family thing. My mom's down there. She doesn't hunt, but she's there, and my brother's
part of
there.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, hunting's, man, I love it. It's a special thing. I didn't grow up doing it. It's bigger on my mom's side of the family, but my dad, he grew up in cities like Jersey and Chicago and stuff. So that just wasn't what people did around there. They didn't go hunting on the weekends. So, but it's always something I wanted to get into. So I got into it a few years ago, man, and I'm obsessed with it.
Well, the primal piece of it is not so much like the harvesting of the animal. It's just being out in the woods. It's, those cold mornings when you're walking, and it's just, you feel it on your face and everything's quiet. There's not cars going by. There's not people. There's not cell phone. It's just you walking and being quiet in the woods and just, I guess, being part of nature. I think it's a piece that most people have lost that probably was part of our calming at some point in our lives.
Man, I tell you what, that was probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
If I didn't harvest something, I was fine.
Yeah.
Like, it was always good to, bring some meat home or whatever, but I just really looked forward to, like, getting up early as shit, throwing on all my gear and just getting in the truck, had like a little ritual. I put a dip in on the way, like some music I listened to, and I get out there and yeah, you're all ready to roll. It's cold as shit, but you're good. And just going to the spot I was going to be at and just sitting. And as soon as I sat down, I was just like,
last year I sat, and one day I seen 23 deer come by. The bucks were chasing the does. It was running. They were running. I didn't harvest a deer. I had an opportunity to shoot a really nice one. I held off. Thought, maybe something better. But I've been hunting my whole life. And so I told my dad, I was like, this is the best day I've ever had in the woods. And I didn't even kill anything. I sat here for hours. It was freezing at first, and the sun breaks over, and it's just, it's wonderful.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome, man. It took me 3 years to get a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did get frustrated at that. The first one I ever shot at, I don't know, it was nerves.
Yeah.
That
happens.
You get that first one, and then I'm just like, it's a pretty easy shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, he just took off. Must have shot. I don't know what I shot. But I'm like, Jesus, and it's like, that's frustrating. But it took me a few years, but honestly, like, just there's something just so sacred about harvesting that meat and being intentional about it, especially when you process the whole thing yourself.
Right.
If you had the time to do that, like, it's just such a special thing that I think we have lost and we are losing. So it's something I want to be always intentional about. Eventually I have my own land to go hunt on and whatnot. But and then I'd love to take my daughter with me down the road. I don't know if you ever did your daughter ever get into it?
My daughter went one time. Well, she's been at several times, but she's killed a deer. She's killed a turkey. We've got to spend that time together. Both funny, phenomenal, long stories.
Yeah.
But it was, time spent with her. My wife got talked into it the next morning. My daughter shot one, so the next afternoon we went back out, and my wife ended up shooting one. So she said she had her fill that she don't need to do that ever again.
I'm good.
I'm good. So.
Yeah. Some people it's for, some people it's not. But as long as at the end of the day, she supports your passion for it. So obviously that's played a big impact in your life, and it's cool to see how that translates to now. Like, that's still something so important to you, and like something that brings your family together.
Right.
And like, just something you've been doing since you were 6 years old is still something that ties y'all, and that's really special.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that. Like, they have like this hobby that you do with your family that you find very important.
What's crazy is like the friends that do come with us, that they get to experience the whole family atmosphere of it. They get to see the argument side of it, just like they get to see the fun side of it and how that all works.
You and your brother still knocking each other out and stuff.
I don't want to fight no more. I'm old. I'm old. I'm past all that. I'm just happy to wake up in the morning. So.
Amen, dude. Hell yeah. That's awesome. So moving forward from that, you're working through things. We're recognizing the stuff, the influences that your parents had on you and whatnot. So I guess now take us into, more of you talked about baseball a little bit, but football was your big thing.
So football was my love. Was my love. I was in middle school. I didn't get to play a lot. I used to want to blame the coach kind of thing, but I just didn't get it. I was out of shape, little chubby kid. And then between my 8th and 9th grade year, I asked my dad to start dropping me off at the gym.
Yeah.
So he'd leave work early and then pick me up at school.
You said in middle school you were like a little chubby kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll feel you there. Me too.
So I was like, I wanted to do something about it. And and I was intentional about it. And I was like, all right, Dad, would you start dropping me off at the gym after school? And what he'd do is drop me off at the gym after school. He'd go back to work for a minute, then he'd come back and pick me up when he got off work.
Yeah.
So I started running, and I was lifting, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just watching these. This was one of those old meathead gyms where all the juiced up dudes used to go, and they were big, and I was watching what they were doing, so I was just mimicking what they were doing. So if they were doing heavy shrugs or big bicep curls, squats, and trying to bench, and then I would run the green belt for our town, which right there I'd run, and one of my biggest memories of all that happening is I was running that green belt, and in my mind, to nobody, obviously, in football, and I've gotten in really good shape at this point. And as I'm running up this big hill, I look over to my right, and the head football coach from the freshman team is driving by in his car and stops and looks at me. Don't talk to me, just stops and looks at me and takes notice. And I remember that. I remember him seeing me. I remember him looking at me, and I'm thinking, he knows. He knows.
He's like, that kid's going places.
He probably didn't think of that.
he might have.
He's probably thinking, what in the world?
This kid's,
Blankenship?
You're out there, you got like Rocky music playing in your head. He's just like, what the hell's going on?
Hell, I'm old enough. We had the dang tape cassette playing in there.
Really?
Yeah. We had the old Walkmans.
Hey, I will say I had a Walkman when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was still around when I was little. But it was still there. Now it's evolved. It's gotten crazy, man. It's just getting faster and faster. But so you had that recognition.
Yeah, I saw. I roll into freshman year of high school, end up being like a starting guard, playing offensive line, backup linebacker, and then the starting linebacker, he got hurt, and I ended up getting to play quite a bit, and I found that was my position. That was my love.
Yeah, it's like physical
game.
As shit, too. Yeah.
And it's just intense. I was a pretty intense guy at the time, and just I love the hitting. Not to sound silly, but loved the violence of the game at the time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And, I was never like somebody that wanted to go get in fights and everything, but I really enjoyed the violence of being a linebacker and the intensity that came with all of that. So ended up sophomore year, got to go into play football, ended up being a starter on the varsity team. So I was playing 2 games a week. I was JV and varsity.
Oh, they on both.
Yeah, so I got to play both, which was awesome to me.
Hell yeah.
Like I was getting extra credit, and ended up just falling in love with the game and what went on with it. And we started a weightlifting program at the school when I was a sophomore for football. We had a little gym in there, and I just fell in love with the whole lifting and everything that went along with it. It goes back to like this process that I didn't realize got ingrained in me playing, hitting T-ball with my dad.
Just consistency.
Yeah. It's just, what's funny is what people call that now is discipline.
Yeah, truth.
But it's just, to me, it was just day-to-day life. This is what you did. You as it is written, it shall be done kind of thing. And it's what it was. And so ended up playing high school ball, senior year, having a great year. Ended up tearing up my knee and having a knee surgery. I had tore my meniscus. Missed 1 week of football. Came back the following game, playing our cross-team rival. Ended up having 22 tackles.
Nice.
A week after surgery.
Meniscus is just like, screw you, man.
What's going on here? And then catapulted into going to college.
Nice.
And
so you were a pretty much star athlete, star football player.
Better or worse, yeah. I mean, in our little town, I was the player of the year kind of thing. I wasn't ever
True, Maryville was small in it.
Yeah.
How many people you graduated with?
Oh man, I don't even know. That's almost 30 years ago. 30 years ago, almost 30.
Yeah, it was like halfway for me.
Old dude. I'm an old dude.
Yeah.
We had quite a few people graduate. We had a big graduating class. At the time, though, like the football team was never like it is now or was. Like 2 or 3 years after I graduated, it did like a run of 9, 10 state championships in a row.
Nice.
And so I equivalent that to the coaching, and also they were the first to have this weightlifting program.
You set the example. They were like, dude,
Yeah.
they were like, Matt, like we got to follow in his footsteps. We got to like honor him and just start winning a bunch of shit.
They're probably thinking, if that's the best they got, we got to up our game. Is what they were thinking.
I hear that, man. That's funny. And then so, but you had opportunity like after high school. That was it.
Yep. So,
do you have real quick? Were you? Because I was talking about this on a recent podcast. Were you focused on girls or anything like that? Did you have girlfirriends, or was it just like you were just dedicated to sports and athletics?
I had girlfriends, but the football, nothing came in the way of football. Like nothing took the place of that. Nothing was allowed to, and it wasn't because I had a girlfriend and I spent a lot of time with her. I probably neglected my friends more because of her than I did. But I didn't neglect the sports side of it. It was just my love, and like I was never a great student in high school. I was charming, to say the least, and got by with good enough grades to go to college and play college ball. But it was the sports just have always eaten me
That
up.
wasn't the priority.
Yeah. I think the way it was ingrained with my dad. Not that my parents didn't say school was important or anything like that, but that relationship with him. And going through that and that being a daily process and the importance I put on it myself, that was the one thing I wasn't missing every day. When I came home, I wasn't missing hitting balls with Dad.
Yeah.
And,
something you always looked forward to.
Yeah, so.
Good shit. I love that. It's funny we were talking about, I was thinking about it, and, I grew up playing sports, and I don't know if you still, like, obviously, I imagine you probably watch UT and stuff like that.
Oh God, yeah.
Thing is, I don't watch any sports nowadays.
I just watch UT football when it's on.
Really? That's it?
And I can't handle it.
Oh, okay. You're back there.
Yeah. So I guess I'll reel back. So
yeah, let's take it back to you getting into that. Yeah.
So I get out of high school, spend some time visiting colleges, going around, and decide that I'm just going to walk on at the University of Tennessee and play football.
No big deal.
That's my plan.
Yeah.
So visited there several times, met a couple of coaches. One of the coaches invited me to walk on, which at the time that was a big deal to get invited to be a walk on.
Yeah.
And that was back in the 90s, so I'm old. So I do that. One of the big reasons was the weight room. See the weight room, I'm like, man, this is so much better than that dungeon we had in high school.
Yeah.
But the high school gym at the time was all brand new to us. It was underneath the stadium. So I really dug in there. That's I think going there and being there was probably the most humbling experience I could have in my entire life. I think I show up 2 weeks out of high school. I'm in the weight room. I'm in summer school. Don't know anything I'm doing. And learning how to do all these lifts. We start doing Olympic lifts. That's where I learned to Olympic lift, which later on in life becomes a big part of my life. And get into that and just get dug in, get strong. But I'm around these guys that are just monsters. Like I said, I'm 5'7", 5'8" now. Back in the day I was 5'10", like 230, but not really. And just took off from there. It was just an intense time, just being around like these real athletes, these just inhuman guys, and learning how to be a teammate, learning my place, still trying to be a leader though, to some extent, being a walk-on, being on the scout team, being the scout team guy,
About, not to interrupt, but it sounds to me like you were very humble about it though. You were like, you recognize like, dude, these are some killers. Like they come from some big places. They're the best probably, you're surrounded by that. I mean, I don't know what their football program was like at the time. Yeah. I haven't really tracked it, but I'd imagine, it's SEC football. It's always been big.
In my time there, 2 SEC championship teams I was on, and I was on a national championship team. So it was the best of the best when I was there.
Shit, man.
So, and, I'm breaking bread with these guys. I'm sweating. I'm bleeding with these guys, and know I'm, You know, I'm not a starter. I got into games a handful of times my time there.
Yeah.
And, you know, understand that at one point I wanted to leave, and then I backed out of doing that and just stuck it out. And just, you know, push, trying to do what I could.
You were grateful for the experience.
Right. I was. I mean, what I took from there way prepared me more than if I'd have went to a small school and been a starter the entire time for the rest of my life. It prepared me for understanding that no matter how hard I worked, how strong I was, how many days I put in that weight room, how many practices that I took every rep as a scout team guy, that no matter how hard I went, that there's no guarantee. And that if I give my best, it still doesn't mean that I'm going to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so
If more people had that mindset.
and that's what I took from that.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned as an adult. That's what, when my hardships came, I've already went through what was probably the hardest time for me, is that the thing I love the most took away from me the thing I love the most.
Yeah.
And so
I think, and you know, what it seems you learn, which I find fascinating, is giving your all without expectation, just to give your all. You know, it's very sacrificial, and it's a very positive thing, because I think a lot of guys go to these programs and maybe they're the best at where they're at, the best there's been at where they're at. But there's other programs, man. There's a lot of people, and then they get somewhere and they're not the best, and they kind of throw a fit. Like, I should be doing it. You know, I should. It's like, well, you know, work harder. But at the end of the day, there is no guarantee. But at the end of the day, when you can recognize that you put your all in, take pride in that. I talked about that with business, man. I told my wife, I said, this is starting this business and moving through this journey, the hardest thing I've ever done. It's tested me in so many freaking ways. I've had to adapt to so many different situations, and I'm very grateful for that. I wouldn't choose any other way for my life. I love it. And no matter what the outcome is, I know I went all in on my dream.
Right.
And I can live with that and be fucking happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but that's, maybe I wouldn't have recognized that at that age. I probably wouldn't have. I was a loser when I was 18. I was a dumbass. But you had a different mindset, and you seem to have, like, taken on that mindset pretty early on.
I didn't realize it until I was probably my junior year. It's like when it set in. It's like, you're not going to be a starter. Maybe you'll get on kickoff. Maybe you'll get on this. Maybe you'll get on that. And then I pretty much ruined myself. Not many people know this, if a handful of people in my life. But I withdrew from classes a semester before my fifth year senior. And I was academically ineligible. So I still went to practice, still did the things. I just couldn't play. Yeah. And so I found out years later that there was probably a possibility that I was going to be gifted some playing time, maybe some other things, through a mutual friend. And that's the one thing that really bothers me is that I just kind of screwed up in school. School was not my strong suit. It was classes were tough for me. Yeah. I know at some points it seemed like I was not trying, but I was just so devastated by how hard it was for me. Like if I read anything right now, it takes me forever. If my wife, hey, look at this, read this, you know, holds up her phone for me to read something, you know, she's already put it back down, and I'm still in the first sentence of the.
Babe, I've got like 2 words down.
and you know, it took me a while to realize that, you know, maybe I'm not dumb, you know, per se. It just it takes me a lot longer to, you know, really analyze something or soak it in. You know, I can read over something and it be okay. And as I got further into college, I got better at that, and classes got easier. But that one semester pretty much put me out.
Yeah. Well, there's neurological aspects to that too, man. There's so many different reasons as to why, like, you may process things differently. I mean, that's science, man. Yeah. Like, I process certain things differently. That's why we're all different, right? Yeah. We're not all just going to get it and be on par. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, you know, traditional school structure to me doesn't make much sense.
It's tough
because every kid's on a different playing field. Mm-hmm. You know, so but you know you understand that, and obviously you're become pretty successful. So in a different way. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that obviously really bothered you, but the school thing was just kind of an issue for you.
But yeah, so I got out of football. College was done. Went to the strength coach, the strength staff there. Talked to the assistant strength coach, which was Johnny Long at the time, and asked him if I could volunteer. Trying to figure out what I want to do. Really love weightlifting. Wanted to be a teacher. Thought I wanted to be a teacher, and then so he went in and said, yeah, he'd talk to the head strength coach, see if it was okay if I volunteered. And I came back the next week, and they offered me a job. Nice. So I ended up having a job and not being a volunteer.
That's a sweet gig.
So I did that for 3.5 years, and I loved the weight room. I was on the same schedule. Like, I got up the same time that I got up for classes, got up for football, dealt with football team, basketball team, stayed on the same schedule. So it made it super easy transition, and just ate it up. Loved my time doing that, but I didn't go to the games. We would go stretch the team out, walk to the stadium, do the same thing pre-game. And when they went to run out of the tee, I would walk out of the back of the stadium, get in my car, and drive home.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
why is that?
I just was over football at the time. It's like, it's like I broke up with it. It's kind of one of those things. You break up with it, and you've done it your entire life. It's been a part of you, but not being able to be a part of it anymore, it like hurts your soul to sit there and watch it, knowing that you couldn't do it anymore. It's just like the old saying, it's like you never know when it's the last time you're going to go out and play tag with your friends. But this, you knew when it was going to end. You just didn't know how it was going to feel. And that, I think that's a big thing that nobody really thinks about or talks about. People talk about you having PTSD in the military. Mm-hmm. You talk about people having CTS, I think that's what it's called, where brain scans, where they have, the stuff going on where suicide rates. And I don't think, and this will go into something else too, is like, I played football from when I was 8 years old until I was 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
I had, and don't take this the wrong way, but been taught to be violent every day. I had an outlet for that violence every day from when I was that young until I was 20-something years old, and then one day it stopped. It just, boom. Well, I think I was okay with it for a while and it didn't really bother me because I stayed in that same system. I was up every day. I was training every day. I was in the weight room. I had somewhere for that, all that energy, all that time to go. And then, boom, it's taken away, and you just, what do you do now? You've been taught to be this way every day, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. And what do you do with it? And I think that's I think where a lot of us get lost. A lot of us end up dealing with a lot of mental and emotional problems that they don't share, because at the time, at my age, you didn't talk about that stuff. And then if people talked about, having those issues, they just thought you were crazy.
Oh, yeah. And even nowadays, I mean, there's past generations, man, they look at it as crazy, like, mental health. Yeah. And I'm like, no, man, it's important to emphasize, like, talk about the mind. Yeah, it controls everything, right?
And I still deal with stuff like that. I deal with it different now. But so... yeah, I played ball there. Great time. I'll get to that. It's just like, 2 SEC championship teams, got to travel, got to see a bunch of stuff, spend some time, build great relationships, learn a lot about myself. Was on the national championship team. A lot of people don't ever get that in their entire life, obviously, and felt like that I was a contributing factor to that. I will never look back and think, well, I was just a walk-on. I poured everything I had into it. I took every down. I took more hits during the week than any of the starters, second team, third string, because I was taking them all from those guys,
Hell yeah.
And so
and you're still rolling.
Yeah, so I think back to that too. It's like my mental health. What do I got to look forward to? You read about, well, they like to talk about NFL guys or these big time players are like, well, the average lifespan for somebody that's an NFL football player is 55, 56 years old, something like that. And Man, I could go down some rabbit holes right now.
Oh, no,
what I'm
you're
talking
good.
about.
You're good. I mean, Dr. G and I were talking about it because I had him with that class I told you I left. You know, he was my sports psychology professor, and he was a star football player in high school, got in a drunk driving accident, quadriplegic. So he's been quad for 20-something years.
Right.
You know, and it's pretty powerful to hear his story and understand, like, that adaptation going from being a 6'3" stud to, like, now you got to totally change your life, and you have no choice. And we were talking about this documentary, I think it's on HBO, called Going for Gold, and talks about how, like, these Olympic athletes are just focused on that one goal their entire life. I think Michael Phelps is in it, some others, but they don't put any emphasis on, like, the other aspects of their life, you know, like other hobbies or spirituality or interest or anything else. Their just focus is there, and then when they get that gold or they don't, or they get injured, then boom, the crash afterward. It's like, what am I? You know, and like there's suicides or stuff like that because they didn't emphasize. And that's, you know, wherever my daughter, like thinking on it, where my daughter decides to go with her life, I want her to focus. I want her to be the best at it she can. I'll do whatever it takes to help her, but I'm not going to push her to just like focus on that. I'm like, hey, what are some other interests? You know, like let's focus on you more as a person, because one day this may or may not be there. Right. And then what do you got? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I do. I know exactly.
So you relate to that. Yeah.
But that's it. But that's it. I think, like, so, you know, football ends for me. I go straight into this job. It's related. It's there. I'm still in the mental space. And then fast forward, I end up mowing lawns for my oldest brother for a summer. And then transient going back from Alabama to my cousin's rental business, helping put up tents for that summer because I don't know what I want to do. Everybody's being good to me, family's taking care of me, letting me try to figure this life out. Yeah. And it's raining one day. My mom's like, there's a job fair in town. Go to the job fair. So I come home, get dressed up super nice, and I go in, and there's this little job fair for a manufacturing business I didn't know. End up, the girl there asked me to wait to the last. I wait to the last and end up talking to her, and I get into this recruiting company, staffing company, which is still what I do now. But so now it's a total change. I go from being super active, lifting all the time, dealing in sports, being around sports, to now I'm in an office, and it's a competitive environment, which is good for me. But it's, you know, 7:30 in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock at night, every night, sitting there, eating bad, drinking bad, you know.
Yeah, just a tire shift in the environment.
Got a girlfriend, ended up marrying, but have a girlfriend at the time. And I'm just, you know, I can do this because I don't have a kid. All that's going on. And then slowly it starts eating away at me, and I can't figure it out. You know, end up, get married, wife gets pregnant. We've bought a house. We're having a kid, and everything that I did to keep myself mentally sharp, which was weightlifting and being at the gym, I don't have time for. I can't make time for. The job's taking it. And I go from being this happy-go-lucky, wild, fun guy to having a stressful marriage, which I'm blaming the both of us. Not pointing fingers. But a stressful marriage, a stressful job, having a kid, not taking care of myself.
And that was part of that stress.
Start having anxiety attacks, don't know what that is, don't know who to talk to about it. I gain 65 pounds. So I go from weighing roughly 190 pounds to 255 pounds at 5'7", 5'8".
You're bulking.
Yeah, shoot. You know, I tell my friends that they're not real friends. I said, y'all aren't any real friends because not one of you had a nutsack to come up to me and say, hey, dude, you're fat.
Yeah, like nudge me or
What's
something.
Wrong
like,
with
dude,
you?
like, please stop.
They would
Slow
just
down.
tell me how big my arms were. Right?
When does it end?
Yeah. And so I had this whole just mental episode for quite some time. And then it was hard to share with anybody. You know, the day it hit me the worst, out turkey hunting, my brothers and I, you know, we're out on the farm, my dad. And I'm at the very far end of the farm. It just got done sprinkling. And I haven't really shared this with much of anybody except my brother at the time, and he couldn't understand it. I walked to the end of the field, and as I'm getting to this last field, the grass has grown up, and a turkey pops up. It's a hen. can't shoot a hen, adrenaline spikes. When the adrenaline dumps, I have the most massive anxiety attack. And if you don't know when you have those, your brain just is going 1,000 miles a minute. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're thinking. You can't talk. Your mouth gets super dry. You have all this crazy stuff going on. Up to that point, I've had thoughts that I wasn't proud of, but I've managed, right? Mm-hmm. Here I am. I've got a shotgun in my hand, and I'm standing at the end of this field, and I'm like, what's going on? You know, my heart, like it's happening right now. I can feel it. You know, my heart's just pounding out of my chest, and all I can think is if I can get back, I know my brother Bo is at the end of this field in his buggy. Just get back there. Get back there as fast as you can. Drop everything. Just get back there. Go blank, speed hike down the farm. Get to him, sit down in the buggy, trying to explain to him what's going on. He can't understand what's going on. All he can ask is, why are you feeling that way? You know, why would I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so from that point forward, it was, trying to manage what that was and trying to figure that out, you know, because nobody in my family had history of that I knew of, right?
Yeah, yeah.
None of my friends had that, and here I am supposed to be the guy that had his shit together. What's this? You know, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah, and you were having like some thoughts right there with the shotgun.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, am I going? Yeah. Did I think I was going to kill myself? No, but you know, it's just all these things are flashing. And had thoughts like that moving up to that point. Here I am 31, maybe 32 years old, and all that's going through me. And it's just all this mental dump and then trying to navigate that, trying to figure out what to do. And then it was, I don't know. Luckily, I had a cousin that lived in Washington State.
Yeah.
I talked to all the time. He helped me through my journey to help look for a job and kind of figure out what I wanted to do. He was a salesperson. I thought sales sounded cool. That's what I ended up doing. And so he and I had a special relationship that we didn't share with anybody else. And I would call him on the phone. I'd text him on the phone.
Just kind of express what was
going on through and what I was feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd had some of the found out he had a lot of the similar things going with him. And so it was an open discussion if something was going on or we needed each other. That phone call be made because we knew.
So you're all like therapists for each other.
Yeah. So that's what it turned out to be, and got me out of a really, you know, you want to call it a dark time. At no point do I think that I was going to end it all.
Yeah.
But at some points I thought, man, what's this?
Like in a way you want to.
Yeah. It was just, and it was all encompassing, you know, to the point that I went to my doctor for it. My doctor put me on some pills. The pills didn't help it. I had to get off the pills because they made it worse. And then lo and behold, I found out there's a therapist. So I went and talked to, I found this lady out of the blue, went to talk to her, started talking to her. And you can tell I'm just nervous. My nerves are everywhere right now.
Yeah.
But
I feel you.
It was a classic, like you go in, she's smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, this is the person I'm talking to.
You're like, give me one. You're like, all right,
we're doing this. This is going down. And so started talking to her. She gave me some exercise doing. She told me it was normal. It was a thing. You know, you go through these things. You know, the type person I was, I'm intense, and always into something. And so, yeah, that was my wife and I at the time ended up getting a divorce. It wasn't some big nasty thing.
Y'all figured that y'all knew that was the best.
Yeah,
option.
we sat down at a kitchen table and discussed it and did it and tried to make it as best we could. Of course, there's rough stuff that happened during it. You get mad at each other. You're gonna argue about things, but
make
it wasn't
comments.
And some things you regret you say and you get negative with one another. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're still able to talk and deal. We have a kid. We got to do this for her.
Of course.
It wasn't some big nasty, like she cheated, I cheated, or some stuff like that. It just didn't work. We knew it.
Well, and it's good to honestly, it's good to get to the point where you just accept that rather than just keep going and make things worse for both of yourselves, right?
So far, what I've enjoyed is we didn't get stuck on like my college football stuff. Like people really want to talk about like who I knew or who I played with. And, I played with some really big name people. But at the end of the day, that those guys may have impacted me somewhere, somehow, some good funny stories or something here and there. But it really wasn't what defined me. When I share those things, they're fun to share. My friends are fun to share stories about friends, but that's not what it was about, ended up being about for me.
Man, well, that's, I'm not going to talk about past episodes and whatnot, but I don't really pay attention to sports. I just don't. I'm focused on what I am. I just like doing my thing. I don't really get into fanship of stuff. Like I got my family and focused on that. Right. I love to listen to music. I love to train. I love to work. I mean, that's where my mind's at. And that's just, a lot of people are like, you don't watch anything? And I'm like, no. They think it's kind of weird, but I'm just like, I just don't, this is not me. But so it's great with talking to you because like, I also do have experience as an athlete. I did play football, but I don't.
I get what you're saying. Like I'm not a sports guy either. I watch UT football, but there is a part of me that's tied to that. It's not like that I'm sitting here looking at the college football lineup for the weekend and what's going on. It's more or less, hey, are we going to go for a run, a jog? Are we going to the mountains? What are we doing? We're going kayaking. What are we doing this weekend? I mean, we'll go to games and UT games and some reunion stuff, which is still, a part of my life. But I don't keep up with sports because it's just there ain't enough time in a day for me
to glorify other people.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I like because I understand like the hard work that went into what these guys had to accomplish.
Yeah,
these girls had to accomplish. But at the end of the day, I don't want to spend my time watching it.
Well, the thing is, people get obsessed with like the individuals playing, and they know all their stats and where they're from, and it's like, I don't know. To me, I just think it's like that's way too much, man.
Yeah.
Like
and
awesome. They're just people. Yeah, they've kicked ass, but they're still just people. That's why, like, I've had podcasts of all different, just average individuals to people that are very well known and so on. But like everybody's got a story, and like just because maybe I don't see someone that, I look at people's outcomes, and just because someone took it to the next level of football, I don't see their story as any greater than this individual that ended up in whatever position in life, right? Because there could be some really significant stuff in this person's story that's just like mind-blowing. And the fact that they just overcame that is like tremendous in itself. But everybody's got a story, and there's always relation. That's why I don't really chase fame with the podcast. Like, what famous guest can I get on? Like, if you got a huge following and you're like, you got like a great story, like I'd love to have you. That's great for the brand. But at the end of the day, like I just want average people on here too, man, because we're all people.
You got you an average one today.
I do. No, I think but your story's great, man. I mean, like, I don't know. I love learning about it and like hearing your mindset and like, you're just like, you're a good old wholesome country boy, essentially, right? You're from Maryville, out there in the mountains. I know about that area. I love it out there. Grew up on sports, man, like good traditional family, and, just kind of hearing, your journey through that, and to go to like such a big school to play football, that's a lot in itself. And then hearing your mental health aspect, and just your mindset through it, because there's like just regular people out there that are going to be like, damn, that guy's journey sounds very similar to mine. Yeah, but like I never approached that aspect, so I want to hear more about that from him, and so on. But you get what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
So you went through the divorce.
Yeah, so we divorced pretty much 50-50 with my kid, and then just really dove into what that looked like for me. What did I want to be? What all that really entailed, and it's like, what? I'm gonna get healthy. First thing, get healthy. So. Start a diet, go hardcore, no carb diet, basically is what it boiled down to. Everybody was doing it at the time. I dropped a lot of weight. I started getting back into exercise, got into CrossFit, which was pretty awesome. Like I know people want to knock on it a little bit. I'll knock on it a little bit. Some of it's kind of campy. Some of it is kind of cliquish. But at the end of the day, it really got me to find out that, hey, I can get below 225 pounds, where I thought at one point I got to 225 and that was the bottom. Got down to 215. I thought that was the bottom. Got really in shape and got down to 180 and was just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, man, look at this. I'm fit. I feel great. My kid, you know, I was taking her to a CrossFit class with me because it snowed that day and she didn't have school. And she and I were the only one at the class. I'm in there doing a workout. They have a rowing machine. I stick her on a rowing machine.
Yeah.
I think she's 5'6" at the time. And the guy said she can't get on it. And I was like, well, why not? She just can't. Well, they didn't have a CrossFit kids class credential at the time, which I didn't understand any of that. I just took it as a knock at my kid. Like, oh, well, if she can't do that, then I guess we'll just leave.
You got some against kids.
Yeah, you know what
I'm saying?
I took it personal, but he did it. He did it. 100% the guy wasn't being that way. He just didn't explain it well to me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm just an angry dad. Like, you got, yeah, like
of
you
course.
said, you did something against my kid. Yeah. And he said, well, why not? She just can't do it. And I said, well, I can't do it then. And then I said, well, shit, I'll just open up my own CrossFit gym. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, I'll just open up my own.
Oh, you actually said that to him?
Yeah. And he goes, well, it takes money to do that. And I said, well, good thing I got money. And I didn't have money. I was just talking.
All the confidence, though.
Yeah, got riled up. Next thing you know, I'm at CrossFit Mayhem getting my level 1 certification. I'm opening up my own business.
Well,
so now here I am. I'm working a job at another company. So I lost my job at the company before, before the divorce. That went sideways as well. My whole life had went sideways. So I lost a job, lost a house. We ended up getting the house sold, but we were a couple of weeks away from losing it. I didn't understand how I know our mortgage worked at the time. Yep. Interest rate blew out the roof. Sold everything we had. She moved in with her mom and dad. I moved in with my mom and dad. And then we tried to work through some things. We ended up getting back together, getting a house. I ended up getting another job. And then, less than a year back into that house, we figured out we weren't the best for each other. Mm. And then, we separated, went our separate ways. And then, but anyway, so all that goes down. So I'm a single guy living in this house. I'm like, where am I going to open up this gym at? So I'll start accumulate some equipment, and my garage turns into a gym all of a sudden.
There you go.
And so now I've got 20 people showing up to my house. My kid gets to see it every other week. So she's seeing, like, people work, hard work, put time in. I'm learning about myself.
It's a pretty sizable garage.
That's a 2-car garage, dude.
Nice.
Just 2-car garage. No cars in it anymore.
People are showing up,
There's some random equipment. We were just going at it, having a good time. Some really good friends. Relationships got built from that. I'd like to think life-changing, life-affirming type events.
Hell yeah.
And then so that happens, and then it's going good. And my wife now, which was my girlfriend, we're talking about marriage. I'm like, well, I want her to move in before we get married because I don't want to get married, us not get along, this not work, and then the kid hate her.
You've been there.
Thing.
Yeah.
Kid comes first. And so she moves in. She gets home from work every day, like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Well, I've got a full-bore CrossFit class going on in our driveway, and she's trying to work. There's people running in and out of our house. It's complete mayhem. She's got like a big-time job, and she's like, you got to do something about this.
Yeah.
She goes, you can find a space. And so, lo and behold, I move out, find a space, and open it up in town. And it continues to grow to some extent. And then there became a core group, and I kept it open from 2014 until 2020, and ran it, and some things changed during all that. So I had got, right when I moved it into town, I started a company for a guy doing staffing, what I do now. So I did a startup for him.
Okay.
It was my biggest customer with the company I was working for. My biggest customer wanted to own a staffing company, come in, asked me if I'd do it. We set it all up. My last day of work at the one company was the first day at this. Opportunity I couldn't pass up. Money I couldn't pass up at the time. You talk about seasons, and that was a season in my life where what was our risk reward for my kid and myself and about to get married? Do I go all in on this CrossFit gym knowing there's 5 other ones within 2 miles of mine? Or do I take this guaranteed job, guaranteed money, doing something I've been doing for 15 years and I was, that I enjoyed. So I jumped on that boat, and I could only run the gym in the mornings and the evenings. And that got to be a little much. And then I'd gotten into the Olympic weightlifting side of it. And so when I got into that, I'd hurt my wrist doing a clean, and we were working and partnering with Power Partners out of our gym, which was Special Olympics.
Okay.
And so they were training out of our gym, and the guy that ran it, his name was Chip, he asked me if I would come in and do a deadlift with the Power Partners at one of their meet. They were doing a team meet. So the Power Partners, they partnered with Able Body.
Okay.
And so I couldn't do bench press because you can tell by this chest, I don't do bench presses. And I wasn't really interested in the time at the squat portion, but they just wanted somebody to do a deadlift with one of the guys. And so, I was like, let's do it. And so I had to sign up on USA Powerlifting. When you Google USA Powerlifting at the time, Google USA Weightlifting had done all the analytics to where USA Weightlifting would pop up first. So I pulled it up, and I was like, USA Weightlifting, what's this? They got what? They got a master's division? What? And so I start looking, and I was like, man, I really enjoy doing the snatch and clean and jerk. Like, that's my jam. Like, I was really good. And I started looking. I was at my age and weight class. I was like, man, if I went right now, I could be top 10. And so,
what was the master's age?
Master starts at 35.
I find that funny. Like, even in jiu-jitsu, like 35, and I'm like, dude,
that ain't master's.
You call me a master's? Like, do I take offense, or did I earn it? I always think it's funny.
When I got into it, I was 40, so I will take the master's. But so I guess. I had the gym then. I had things to pour myself into. I'd been through, therapy. I learned how to get through these anxiety attacks. I was more open about it with people. My wife, she understood. Didn't understand, but understood if I was having one. I could talk to her about it, say something.
That's good.
She'd ask me why, and I said, I can't explain it. Sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't. I could be just driving down the road and talk myself into having one, because if I had a feeling – that was part of what my anxiety, like if my heart rate got up for something or something, I could talk myself into having one, to the point that twice I've driven to like a clinic and just said, hey, I'm having an anxiety attack. Let's just make sure this ain't a heart attack.
Yeah.
So one of those things. But anyway, so I'd learned to work with that. And I think the lifting, having somewhere to pour my physical self into was also like good for my mental health. It's like I felt fresh. I felt good about myself. My confidence was there. I had good people surrounding me, which these guys that first started with me when I was opened that gym are still really good friends of mine, which I count on. I'm on group chats with these guys, and we talk about things, weekly, monthly conversations about what's going on. The same thing with my cousin. Still talk to him weekly. The one that helped me through all my issues, and we still talk about those things. And I've had a pretty big anxiety attack here recently. Just woke up in the middle of not having one, Midnight, I'm sitting in bed. My wife's out of town for work, and I'm like, oh, my God, you're fine. You're fine. Just chill. You're not fine. Call somebody. God. No, don't go to the doctor. Your wife's going to freak out.
My pulse, honey, check my pulse.
So I'm sitting there, and I throw on my watch, both my watches. Okay, my watch will tell me if I'm having a heart attack. But, so I think pouring myself into that, got super serious about it, which I typically do about all my hobbies, and signed up for that powerlifting meet, and then got into the weightlifting stuff in 2017 and did my first competition as a master's lifter. And I go to a local competition in Nashville. I'll get into that. And so when I train, like, I'm serious. I keep notebooks. I've journaled. I have journals all the way back to 2017 of every lift I've ever done.
Hell yeah.
And there's notes beside every lift.
Nice.
Like, man, that felt good. Or, at some points, and I'll get to this too, is like, you piece of crap, you sucked, dude.
You're like, damn, that was mean.
I was rough to myself,
Who is that guy?
Yeah, but so I got into it pretty heavy, went to this competition, did pretty decent. I won it, at master's level, but it was local. There may have been one other person my age and weight. I don't know at the time, but that qualified me to go to a national level event. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to sign up for this. It's in Savannah, Georgia. I can just go stay the night and go and do pretty good. So I get down there. It's my first big national event. And I've met the guy that owns the Nashville Weightlifting Club, talking to him. He's there. And he's like, well, what are you going to do today? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna break the national record for snatch today. And he's like, oh, you are? And he pulls his phone out, and I'm like, what is he doing? He starts dialing the number, gets on the phone. Hey, Rob, yeah. This guy Blankenship said he's going to break your record. I was like, what did you just do, dude? So,
hey, man, but you said it. You got to own it, just like the gym. You're like, I'm opening my own gym.
So, lo and behold, I go lift. I end up, I hit that lift. I break that record, and then ended up winning the meet. And that was made some good friends there. Like the Masters community, it is community. Just like all the things that I'm kind of into now. It's like as you get older, you find out that sports or hobbies, whatever you want to call them, if you're like me, they're more community based. Yeah. They're more. Everybody's got something in common, even though that probably 80% of the things that you do in life are different. That one commonality can overlook a lot of things. You don't. I'm not sitting there talking about politics. I'm not sitting there talking about religion. Yeah. I'm not sitting there talking about, people's thoughts on, things like that. It's just, we have this one common thing, and we're rooting for each other. And I think we're missing some things in our society right now. But anyway.
Yeah, there's so much else we can come together on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't, like, guess what? You believe in that? That's cool. Or you voted for so-and-so. Like, I really don't care. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know. We got a lot more in common than we realized, man.
So I was doing that. I won that, and it qualified me for the World Championships the next year. And I was like, I'm going. It's in Barcelona. I'm taking this big step. A lot of hype around one guy out of the States that was going to win it. He's come back. He's making his comeback. I'm your classic guy that I'm following you on Instagram now. I'm following your Facebook. I'm making friends with you. I'm watching every lift you do every night. I'm writing down, I've got your name on my wall, your picture's on my wall. I'm coming. You just don't know it.
Nice, dude. You accidentally click like on a photo, and you're like, oh, like. He's like, wait,
shit. He's watching. But, and then that's just how I'm wired. And so then, the process starts. I'm back to hitting balls. And so I'm going in there. I have a program. I stick to it. I don't come off of it. I'm strong. I'm feeling the best I've felt. 3 weeks going into the competition, my daughter's out in the front yard. She's into tumbling and gymnastics and cheerleading, and she had just learned how to do a back tuck, and she's wanting me to spot her. So I'm spotting her in the front yard, and she turns around and does a flip. I think she's going to mash her face. Out of instinct, I throw my right arm up underneath her. She's spinning full speed. Knees hit my arm. Awful pain in my arm. And biceps hurting, forearms hurting real bad. Immediately call my friend. He's a PT. He says, come see me right now. It was on a Friday. And he looks at it. He does some dry needling and tells me, you're going to be okay. It's just going to hurt for a little bit. Just be careful. So I'm careful with it. Thank you, Dr. Don. But
Dr. Don.
So 3 weeks goes by. I'm getting the week before the competition, I get full range of motion back. It's just tight. Mm-hmm. So I'm lifting again. I thought I was totally out. I get down there. We fly in on a Monday. I'm like, I'm going to the training hall. I'm going to get the jitters out while I'm here. I don't compete until Thursday. I go in on Monday. I start to lift. I've got 40 kilos, 95 pounds on the bar. I do a warm-up snatch. All of a sudden, my forearm just explodes. Worst pain. I'm like, what just happened? Instantly, it turns black. I go in there. I go back to the hotel room to my wife, and I said, I can't grip nothing. I can't grab nothing. And as she classically likes to say it, I went all days of our lives on her. And so I freak out. We're in Barcelona. I've traveled all this time. I've trained all this time. And it's just a complete freak out moment. She wants to go travel, go ride around, walk around the town. I'm like, I'm down here for business. I don't know where you thought this was a vacation, because she went with me, and we end up taking bus tours everywhere. We go see some great stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But so I think I'm kind of out of the competition, but I don't do anything until Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday shows up. I have a guy and his girlfriend at the time, Travis and Samantha. They're going to count attempts for me. So what they do is they see when the guy's going ahead of me and tell me when it's my turn. So in weightlifting, you can change your weight. And if your weight is heavier than the person next, then you have to go. I mean, if your weight's heavier, that person has to go before you. So you can flip-flop backstage. You can say, I'm going to do 110 kilos. And then right before you go up.
It's like throwing up a bid.
Yeah, you can say, well, I'm going to do 111 now. And now that person that was supposed to do 111, they're on the clock immediately. So it puts pressure to them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So anyway, he was there to count attempts. And then so I'm sitting there and I'll come up, warm up. I weigh in, I make weight. I'm great. I grab the barbell and I'm like, dude, it don't hurt. He goes, look, first things first, know it's going to hurt. Get that out of your head. Know there's going to be pain. And I said, all right, start going, no pain. Just tight, no pain, just tight. Get up there. In snatch, you have 3 attempts. In clean and jerk, you have 3 attempts to hit the weight. So my first attempt, I go out to, I think it was 113, 115 kilos. Bam, hit it. I'm tired. I walk off stage, go up, tell him my next attempt's 118. I'm going to go 118. He's like, hell yeah, man, we'll go 118. And so the guy I'm competing directly with, you know, from the States, we're back and forth on this. And then he's going, I go up for my second attempt, 118, pop, catch it. I'm in the hole, boom, stand up with it. My bicep completely detaches on my right arm. Stand up, drop it, walk off the stage, walk past the guy I'm competing against. He says, good lift. I said, thanks. I said, good luck. Walk past him, walk up to the coach, Travis.
And you were like,
he's like, what? I said, my bicep's gone. He goes, do what? I said, my bicep's gone, dude. He goes, holy fuck, mate. It is. He's from the UK.
Yeah.
But I sound more like I'm from Australia, you know?
That's why. I mean, honestly, I was like an Australian guy.
But no, he's this badass UK guy. And he goes, well, good fucking thing you don't need a bicep to do Olympic lifts. What's next?
Nice.
And I'm like, 120. Go out, 120, crush it. Come off stage. Nobody knows anything but me and him. Me and him, we're the only ones that know. We go back. We don't talk about it. We don't discuss it. We're lifting. 20-minute interlude. I'm winning right now at the time. I've lifted most weight on snatch. And so, but it's going to be close because clean and jerk, you know, I'm iffy. I go out and hit my opening attempt. I have a little elbow bend on my right arm. One of the judges catches it, but 2 judges say good lift, so it counts. So now at this point, I'm nervous. I know I'm kind of jacked. And I go out and
you're still moving.
Yeah, I'm going for my second attempt. I hit the clean, but when I do, all the adrenaline is dumped, and I catch myself in the throat, about knock myself silly. I'm sitting there trying to catch my breath, about to pass out. I get the bar situated. I try to do a clean and miss it. So now I come back, and it's like do or die. I have to hit this. I have to hit this to beat the guy from the States. So the guy from the States goes, he misses. I go, my third attempt, I hit it. Bam, come off. This guy's got to pull off some amazing lift to beat me. Can't do it. Well, there's a guy from Germany. He's got to throw something super crazy up. So he missed his, but he made one before, so he ended up in third place. So us 3 guys ended up in the same thing. But I ended up winning the competition, bicep detached. And then I've told this story 1,000 times, but like it is my favorite story about myself.
Oh yeah,
because
gas yourself up, man.
So we go backstage, and me and German dude are getting drug tested. We're on the pool, and so we get drug tested on the pool, and so we're sitting back there. He's caught wind of what had happened to me because they had me out in the tent afterwards, medical tent. Super nice guy comes up, Thomas, and he's telling me good job and what happened. I told him, you know. So then we're sitting back there to get drug tested, and this dude rolls in with 2 tall beers and hands me one. He goes, here you go. And I was like, huh? He goes, you not man, you machine.
Hell yeah.
So, straight back to Rocky. I'm like, heck yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I
was thinking Rocky too.
So, yeah, but man, that was, I didn't realize at the time what that would mean to me later on. Just going through, I could have quit.
Oh, without a doubt. But like, how would you feel after the fact? Like, man, I could have pushed forward. I saw a guy tear his bicep boxing once, and you would have think he might as well lost both arms that day.
Yeah,
that's how he acted. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, you know. But like, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
but like, man, you got a goal right here. You know, you had this out in front of you. You had this opportunity. You're in Barcelona, you said?
Yeah, I'm in Barcelona, Spain. I spent money.
How many people get the opportunity to even experience a place like that, much less compete in a country like that?
And it was awesome. I mean, it's where the Olympics were held, the same stage, everything. Like, it was the same thing, man. And it was, I don't know, man, it was awesome. And then, you know, I get back, I have surgery, and the guy that here in the States, that I'm on his weightlifting team, he's calling me up, asking me how I'm doing. And then he, you know, I'm pretty much done. Like, I hit the goal, you know, I'm done. I'll find something else. It's typically what I do. And he goes, how badass is it going to be next year when you win the world championship again after coming off the bicep? And I was like, God, you're an ass.
And here you go.
And here I go.
Rolling forward.
Yeah, 9 weeks later, I'm back on the platform, lifting again.
I love how you were so convinced you were done. You're like, okay.
My wife, so mad. I thought you were done.
Damn it.
My friends have heard I'm done so many times on this. I've won 3 world championships. I've set 26 national records in 2 age groups, 2 weight classes, most of them beating myself. 10 Pan American records in 2 weight classes, and 2 world records in 2 weight classes. And I did that all in my 40s. So
you're hooked on that physical competition, man.
Yeah. There's something about it. I think when we start talking about our mental health, and I think not even if you're competitive, if you don't have some physical means, some physical outlet, I don't think we're wired to just sit and do. There's parts of us, I think, there are. I mean, as we evolved, I guess, but there's still that part where you've got, this has got to do something. There's something visceral about being in some struggles, and it can't all just be above the shoulder struggles. It needs, you got to have, you know, something else to push yourself. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. When you walk out on a stage by yourself, lifting a weight, and there's hundreds of people maybe standing there, maybe less, maybe more, and there's a mental aspect of that where you have to pull yourself together and get over that. You got to drive past the anxiety. You got to drive past and just do. You shut down and just do.
So you had that competition in Barcelona.
Yep.
You're like, all right, done. Nope, right back in it. And then you continue on and have all these other experiences from there.
So I ended up shutting down the gym. Friends and I decided the best thing to do, but continue to lift. I've been lifting up till here recently, and then pouring time. You know, I got to pour a little bit more time into work. Not that that's a bad thing. Enjoy my job. You know, went from entry level in this kind of business. I'm president of our company now, division president of the company. Get to make decisions, do things like that. Pretty exciting. And then, I don't know, it's, I find that hitting balls, it goes back, is that, you know, it's no different in my work life. It's like, it's being disciplined to be successful. The people with you buying into you, the people that work with you closely, you know, giving them opportunity to have say and talk and do and be a big part of what's going on so that they're bought in. And I don't know, you find out too as you get older, it's just, and you've been through all these things, and you've been in sports, you've competed. It goes back to trusting yourself. Yeah. And trusting that you've been through enough, that you know enough, that you give people opportunity, that they trust that they can go do it, because at any point that they feel like they've screwed up, that you can fix it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's a lot. Yeah. But I think that in leaders in organizations and leaders like leaders, I was a leader in this weightlifting thing. People look up to me, you know, but I worked hard. I was humble. I treated people right. I was good to them. I never went to a competition like, hey, I'm going to smash you. You know, because a lot of competitions, I was my competition for the most part. And that was tough, but also being humble in that, knowing that those guys also put in the work and they may have been like I was when I was playing football in college. They put into work, but maybe they didn't have the talent or the size to get to be the best. But you know what? I shouldn't rub that in their face by any means. But I guess the things I took away from all of my sports and everything is the same way in business, that you got to just continue to roll with it. You got to continue to be disciplined and have a program and stick to it, the process. You know, people love process now, but that's just it, you know, and sticking to it. And that's what I'm trying to do now as a leader in our organization is, you know, I've been tasked to grow it. I've been asked to do certain things, and I'm asked to do certain things weekly, monthly, yearly, and what that looks like in pre-plan. I like to let my team have say-so in that, you know?
Yeah, and then the key there, too, is, like, you know, a couple of things that stuck out is, like, maintaining discipline. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what happens, like, and especially if we get injured or we run into a life problem, still maintain discipline in the areas that you can control, right?
Yep.
And then being humble about things. Like, we're all going to go through shit. And I had some bare knuckle fights. I don't go in there like I'm about to wreck this dude. I'm fully aware that, like, I can mess up and this dude can make me look like a fool on camera and knock me out. And here I would, and then they flash back to this footage where I'm like talking, I'm like the shit.
Right.
Nah, dude, I go in there just quiet, ready to roll, you know, and the outcome that'll happen how it should. But yeah, I'm be humble. Because you can always be humbled quickly. And that's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, man. Yeah. Everybody meets their match. So, you know, I appreciate, you know, what off camera I was saying, you know, the ability to just drive forward no matter what. You're talking about your story in Barcelona, tearing your bicep, a lot of people would have stopped for sure. They'd be like, dude, I'm screwed. Like, I can't continue this competition. But you're like, hell no, I'm going to keep going. And then that guy was like, you're a machine. Facts. Not too long before that, you had a lot heavier, and you were sitting there just having some pretty dark thoughts with a shotgun, having an anxiety attack, you know, out in the hunting field. And that was a really hard place for you to be in. So just that shift and who those are like two totally different people.
Right.
In a way, right? And that's the thing is that, like, we all have that capability to make that kind of shift, to be like, you may be here right now. If you're out there listening, you may be in a similar boat as to where you were out in that field. Not exactly just in a field, like hunting, going through the same thing, but you get what I'm saying in the mindset. But you see where you can go.
Right.
We're all capable of doing it. It's just all it takes is action, and we have and choice, and we have a choice to do that or not. Yeah. So, yeah. I think,
one of the biggest changes I've had in recent time was, you know, during COVID, all that happened. Company I was working for got bought. And at the time, all the business had pretty much had come in the door. Stuff that I built, it was a business I'd helped build for somebody. And he sold the business. And when he sold it, you know, I got walked. I was president of the company. I pretty much started with two other people. And here I'm getting walked. And at the time, I thought I was invincible, that couldn't happen to me. All this is causing me.
How do they even do
that? They walk in and tell you, today's your last day. Here's a severance package, and good luck. Pat you on the back, and that's about the gist of it. So, which ended up being good for me. I took a job. My wife, I think it was in the crowning moments of my marriage, is my wife had my back the entire time. What I didn't realize about my wife, you know, she's laid back. She's not a sports person. She likes to run, but she don't try to win. You know, she says she runs sexy pace, you know, but she does stuff. And that's what I found out is she runs to clear her mind. That's how she gets out of work.
That's cool.
But the thing that I found is that when people get married or they fall in love, the people that stay together are not ones that maybe believe the same thing. Maybe not the ones that are into the same sports or something. I think the people that do carry the same emotional intensity in life for something. So I'm intense with sports and my work and stuff like that, but when I'm going to go win. My wife, if you spend time with her, she's not at Tensall. If you sit and watch her in her office, that woman is intense about her work. She's intense and intentional about what she's getting done. And her and I, when it comes to stuff like that, and then I'm intense about my job too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you know, outside looking in, I'm this old hillbilly boy that likes to hunt, fish, you know, drink beer and hang out with my buddies. And just, yeah, you're classic. Drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon or something.
Hell yeah.
And she's wearing, you know, Jimmy Choo's and got, you know, a Prada purse and dressed.
Bougie.
Yeah, dressed to the nines all the time. We look polar opposites. But when you get us together, you know, I knew after that, the way that she treated that situation, that she had my back no matter what happened from that point forward. That not that we were going to let it happen, but if something happened, we lost everything, she would still be there. And that is, she proved that. And then I fight to try to prove that to her every day.
Hell yeah.
You know, and it's tough. I mean, I get a little emotional, teary-eyed talking about that stuff because me and her are not like that. We don't sit around and do that stuff. We tell each other we love each other. We hold hands. We do the things. But it's not like one of those outpourings of emotion all the time.
I'm the emotional. I am that way.
Yeah.
I'm that one in our relationship.
I am emotional wreck. And so, but that I don't even know where I was going with that, but it just proved to me. No, it's just, you know, it proved to me what that was about. And so it gave me time to reflect when that happened. And I started looking at my life 10 times different. Like, I have the person that's going to back me no matter what. She told me just go find something that's chill and see if you like it. I went and did something chill. And when I did something chill, I found out it didn't fulfill me, but I also figured out what fulfilled me and where I wanted to be. And then I reflected back and I started thinking about things a lot bigger. I'm 48 years old. I'm not that old. You look at the life expectancy of an average male in the United States of America, you got 76, 78 years old. Yeah. I've got 30 years left, right?
Yeah.
I played football. So playing football, that knocks some years off. So now we're talking maybe I'm 60 years old. So now I've got 12 years, right? Yeah. So what am I looking at in 12 years? That's 12 more summers with my daughter. That is 12 more hunting seasons, 12 more opening dates, 12 more anniversaries with my wife, 12 more of something. You think about 12. I can run through a 12-pack of beer faster than anybody, right? Yeah. But what I'm talking about, it's 12. That's 12. So if I'm lucky, I may have 30. If I'm average, which I'm really above average on everything, I like to think, but I'm really not. But, I just don't – I put that in perspective. So now I'm really focused on the people that are in my life. How can I make that better for them? What am I doing to make their life better? What can I push to make it better? How can I take the negativity out? I started when I lift now. You can look through my journals, which we talked about earlier. There's not a negative comment, not one. You will not find a negative comment. You'll say, hit. I have not missed a lift in 2 years. I have, but I haven't. I can improve that lift.
Oh, yeah.
I stopped doing that. I'm not lying to myself. I'm deciding not to have that negativity anymore. Because when I took the job I took now, my wife asked me not to do it because she knew how negative I was about the last place. And she asked me not to do it. And I was like, hey, I'm the one that has to work the job. You won't hear about it when I come home. It's been phenomenal. Best place I ever worked. I'll give them that. But it's just like if I can pour, I don't want to seem like some positivity nut. But if some little things I can do for somebody can open up to where their life is better, if they can improve on themselves, if they can see that they are better and their self-worth comes from that, then who is it for me to hold that back? And why, with my experiences in my job, knowing that if something goes awry, it's my job to fix it.
Everybody's going to look to you.
So let me fix it.
Yeah.
You go make your mistakes and understand it's going to be okay. And we'll talk about it and we'll fix it.
Yeah, man.
But I guess that's where I'm at now. It's like, do I want to spend these 12 years, these 12 summers, this, time being negative, looking at what's bad in my life? Or do I want to look forward and figure out, man, I've wanted to do this. I'm doing it. I'm not letting nothing stop me. If you're a negative person or a negative force in my life, I'm not going to spend time doing it. If I don't want to do it, I'm going to tell you no.
And those negative people will weed themselves out anyways. I had somebody stop being friends with me because he told another friend that I was just too positive on my outlook of the world. And I'm like, man, that's kind of hard.
He's fake.
It's kind of heartbreaking you feel that way, dude. Like, it makes me sad for you if you got that kind of mindset towards it all. you know, it is what it is. I mean, but like you weeded yourself out, and like I'm still going to be positive. Yeah. I'll say, growing a business, man, it's easy to get negative.
Yeah,
you become jaded. People stab you in the back. People like screw you over, and it's hard not to go like get really angry and just be like, screw everybody, man. But like, what good is that going to do, man? Right. And that's going to like bleed into my life and like affect my wife and my child. And
do you want to carry that home? No.
No,
that's
and
just it. And I used to, and you own the business, and I get it. Like some of that you're going to carry, some of that you're going to share with your wife, and be like, hey, this is what's going on. But that goes back to her emotional connection to you, her intensity back to you in a way that's positive back to like, hey, yeah, that sucks. What can we do? What can we work on? Solutions.
I'm like a fireball.
Yeah.
I'm like a freaking wildfire. She's that calm ocean, you know, and we play those parts in each other's lives. And I think it's a really good dynamic. And like, cause I need that calm. If I had someone, if she was like me, Jesus Christ, the world would be ablaze, you know, but, it's that perfect, it works together beautifully, you know, and I've worked on it. Yeah. Maybe at the beginning I was a little bit more negative, but I, you know, also like we communicate well. So she's like, hey, you know, yes, I do vent about things, and I bring stuff home and vent, and she talks with me through it. She wants to be there for me because I try not to like just lose it on in the world. But she always brings me back to the right place, and I'm just like, thanks, honey.
Well, I think I can go to my wife for that. Actually, a girl works with me. She and I, you know, that's if we have a work issue and we're negative about something or upset about something, we'll vent to one another, and it drops after that. We just get it out. You know, that's a deal we have, and it makes it great, you know, because it's hard to be in executive level positions in a corporation and have conversations because, you know, as a leader in your company, you don't want to seem weak, and you can't be weak. You can't, you know, because weakness, it seeps down into the company. But having trust in somebody there that you can have a conversation with where things aren't just, you know, you feel like something's going bad, you want to have a conversation, you're upset about something. You need to have somebody common in the business to talk to. So that's always been really good. But it ends right there, and that's, you know, that's a deal we made.
That's awesome.
So it's nice. But yeah, I mean, dude, when you're young, you don't understand that your time's finite. And I'm just realizing, you know, that at 40 years old and 48 years old, and everybody thinks that's, you know, 48, you're young. Yeah, I feel young. You know, when I look back and I think of a 50-year-old man, I don't see myself in the mirror. Now, you know, kids these days may see me as an old man. I don't know, you know, but it's, everything's changed, but it's like, dude, you got to grasp that fact, and you have to understand that wanting something, go after it. Feeling something, do it. Don't let all these negative things seep in and tell you no. I mean, if I could leave anything on anybody, it's like, I don't want to be the guy that paved the road. Yeah. I'm not the guy that paved the road, but I want to be the trail in the woods that somebody walked through and somebody's seen that there's been steps here before and it can be done. Huh. And then they can pave the road. Let them pave the way.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm about right now. You know, spending time with my family, spending time with my daughter, being a good father, having a good time, enjoying, trying to leave good impressions on people's lives, changing some things, but not doing things anymore for semantics to look like, look at Matt.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could legitimately go back and just ballyhoo about all the things that I've been a part of in my life, and exonerate everybody that had anything to do with it, and make it seem like it was all about me. And if I did that, that would be probably the worst thing that I could ever do.
Yeah.
Because then people will just think, well, only Matt could do that. Where, truth be told, it's like you can do that. Just apply yourself.
Exactly.
You know, I'm rambling right now, but I get fired up about stupid stuff.
Bro, like, no. And the thing is, it's not stupid stuff. Like, this is, like, applicable and it matters. And I want to continue it with you. Unfortunately, we're out of time to do so.
Awesome.
And that's why we're going to do part 2. And I do have a question for you, though. I ask this to everybody, or usually I try to stay consistent about it. You know, and like I said, part 2, we're gonna make it happen because I want to. There's so much of this like I want to get in onto because I'm like but I want to let you speak. You pretty much answered this in a way this last little bit, but just to be straightforward, what is your relentless pursuit, both in business and personally in life?
Personal life and personal life, I just want to leave for my family and people that I spend time with. I just want, when they think of me, they think of positivity. They think of, man, that guy uplifted me. That guy pushed me. That guy expected of me. And he was my friend. And he didn't just say, hey, you're doing great. When you're not doing great, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to be that guy. And I think with work, too, is like, I've been given a great opportunity. And my relentless pursuit with that is don't squander it. Take advantage of it and lead like I should lead. You know, be a teacher, be a coach, let people fail, let people succeed, lift them up when they need lifted up. And just know that I didn't come from money. I didn't come from some huge background. I come from, you know, middle class family, and that if you put your mind to it and you stick to your process, your goals, and you don't waver, that you'll accomplish it even if you don't accomplish it. Amen. Later on, you're going to find out that what come of it was what was supposed to come of it, not maybe your end game was this when you started, but at the end you found out it was this.
Hey, man, fate's a thing.
It is,
you know,
100%.
And everything will play out how it should.
Right.
But you got to learn to flow with it rather than resist it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, dude, we could touch into that, too. God, that's a good topic. But, dude, that was a very that's an amazing answer. And, you know, some things that, like, definitely when you're talking about the negativity and stuff, like, I'm big on positivity and impact and all those things. But it's easy, like I said, and when you're isolated and, like, trying to build something, it's easy to get negative sometimes.
Right.
But, like, reflecting on that and, like, hear what you had to say, like, appreciate that. It was good. It was good to hear. And, man, I want to continue all this, but obviously we're out of time, man. It's going to be a long one, and I got to go take a final. So that's exciting. But almost there. But, dude, thank you for coming in and sharing your story, taking the time to make the trip to be out here and share part 1 of your story and just talk about all the different things that you haven't spoken about before and just teaching us who you are. And, you know, I just hope, you know, let's just hope that you're here a lot longer than 12 years.
That's what I'm planning on it, brother.
Yeah, bro. Let's keep you around for a little bit longer, all right?
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Matt, thank you.
Hey, good to meet you.
Yes, sir. Take care.